Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dice Shame episode 100!
I mean, I'm ready to listen to that theme 100 more times. I love the Dice Shame theme. Right?
Oh, look, Alex made it. Hey, Alex.
Hey, just in time.
Alex / Dorn Iron
slides in.
Just in case.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the Dice Shame special for episode 100. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to these boys for being with us.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Thank everybody for being here.
Fuck you, buddy.
Fuck you.
Is it just us four tonight?
Just us four.
We're just doing a live stream for our own.
Just for us. It's only
That's
us.
right.
This is private. You can say whatever you want. Not really, Alex.
You're pumping it up, saying, "Oh, you know, we've got hundreds of thousands of followers, and like we're pulling in millions of dollars a month, and
millions."
I just kept saying, "No, I don't."
Life
believe
changing.
it. And of course, I show up. There's nobody else here. I'm not surprised.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are at episode 100 for Dice Shame. 2-ish years ago, this show started, and it has become a force of its own that we're all so proud of. And tonight, we are going to do some fun stuff. First and foremost, we are going to listen to episode 22.
What? Why?
Because the fans have voted. And it's going to be like a commentary. Like, we'll listen to it here. We'll chat. And we'll talk through it. And we'll see we'll share little stories behind the scenes. Little tidbits.
Woo!
Little bits of tid. Woo, says Musical
Hello,
Rose.
Musical Rose.
We've got lots of people hanging out with us on Discord tonight.
awesome.
Congratulations, they say. Not sure how long you're going to stick around. Oh, not so long, how long they're going to stick around. Not sure how long Dice Shame's going to stick around.
Listen, 100 is
Thanks,
fine,
Michael
but
and
you know,
Brianna.
whatever you...
But they said we are also fucking amazing, and they love us so much. Thank you so much. And Alex is already gone, so that was him.
you know,
Exit on
we
Alex.
should have gambled on how long he was going to stick around.
We should gamble on how many drinks he's going to have. We'll see. Oh, there he's back. Director's commentary. There you go, Alex.
Thinking I could chat with people, and then it took me right out.
Abe Hughes says congrats on 100. Perrin says congratulations. Katie says, is episode 22 the Alexi plays trumpet episode?
I don't know,
Oh, it
actually.
should be.
Maybe that's why Well, actually... Well, I won't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything. Don't spoil it.
I won't say anything.
Spoilers.
Don't spoil it.
I won't say anything.
Sweet trumpet.
Before we get into episode 22 and we talk, there was a few episodes that were really fun that people suggested. Some people said 36, which was...
What happened to that one?
I was just going to say, I don't know.
That's when you guys are in the Hamperat house.
Oh, that's a good one. We're drunk as fuck and trying to...
That's, I think,
loot
why
the place,
people like
and
that one.
That bitch.
It had an energy.
Yeah, it had an energy. People also recommended or requested 56, which was the episode where Kraloth revealed his loss of his soul to Red, which was nice. But because Justin may not be here till later, we figured, let's not do that one because...
Let's not reveal all his secrets.
Let's not all reveal his secrets. Alex, if you go to the Discord and you go to Dice Shame Special, you can find it. You know what?
No, I got it here.
Got it.
Too late. Did it? Fixed it.
Thank you.
Saved you. Saved the day.
Honestly, I wasn't gonna find it, so.
Everyone's tagging you. We had people recommend episode 60, which honestly was the second best suggestion. I was considering playing 60 because episode 60 was the one with the wedding, the preamble to the wedding.
That was a great one.
The prelude.
Where we come across the and an interesting thing about that, which Joe will reveal to us now, is that episode 60 is where we're introduced to Green Whistle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we actually recorded episode 60, and then we re-recorded episode 60. So Green Whistle, as he's written in the book, is kind of a morose character. He's bummed out because he got rejected by a dryad as written. And so he's kind of like in just a shitty mood, and he doesn't really have a lot of stuff to offer.
Do you guys remember when we met Green Whistle the first time? Like, and then she re-recorded it.
Yeah, I know it was the end of one, and
It was the end of one.
Yeah.
It was the end of, I guess, 59.
He wrote a bunch of
the
Whistle.
the satyr.
Was it
Green
Green
Whistle.
Thistle? Green Whistle.
No, it's Green Whistle. Oh.
He's the satyr.
He
Now you can see how
welcome to the
Alex-
podcast, Alex.
he's a sadist.
So there's this guy named Doran Ironfist. Maybe we should go back. We steps
Yeah, let
and
me
just-
tell you all about him.
No, but yeah, it was at the end of 59 you introduced him, and as written, he was really shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was he's like, oh, and you played him very different. He didn't have an accent. He was like,
He was not very likable.
He
And when we cut it, Harlan was like, listen, I don't like this guy very much. Do we have to interact with him at all anymore? Because I don't really want to. And I was like, man, I feel so bad about this. Like, I don't really like this character. And Harlan was like, well, then make something up. Like let's come up with a cool thing that Green Whistle can be, and then you can like take it from there.
well,
And
yeah,
so,
it was neat because I think we've had the question before if we've ever had to re-record an episode, which we haven't. But that definitely, when someone said 60, it made me think of, well, we have readjusted characters and sort of redone them. The same way that we're having a guest star sometimes in to record a voice. It's almost what you did with Green Whistle.
so
Katie's having Red's hard apple cider in honor of Red.
Yay! So Colin says, wait, you did this whole episode twice? So no, we just re-recorded the end of the episode, and then going forward, we invented the entire wedding ceremony and the extra couple of episodes that we spent hanging out with Green Whistle in the High Forest.
Team Awesome Boys.
Yeah.
You've got sounds queued up.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
it's
I got
wicked.
all the dice shame.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
the
that-
fated. That's what happens when someone goes down.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. go ahead.
And I mean, I think
That's high
most
there.
often, if we'd ever re-record anything, it's because that we needed to connect the threads to connect one episode to the other, and so you might tweak the drama of the start or the end of something to punch it up a little bit. But
Pick
Yeah.
up a line.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just viciously cut all of Rob's lines to make
it's
sure.
true. I'm
He's not
surprised
wrong.
I'm still in this. This would
Rob
help if I
plays a
didn't
minor
mutter them
role.
under my mutter them
I'm
under
very
my voice to
interested-
myself.
To see how episode 20, what are we listening to? 22?
22.
How 22 measures up against episode 100, because 22 is one of the last ones that we recorded in person. So
Yeah.
that was March
March 12th, 2020.
12th. So right before
shit.
we went into lockdown.
I mean,
Very
we,
interesting.
We were different people then.
Very, well, it's interesting. You'll hear the cutting of it is different too, because I can be less ruthless with it. Jessica just had a really cool question. So when the team went to the Eye, did you have Gary record everything that the Oracle said ahead of time, or did you say it? That's all post.
Great question.
So I cut it exactly as you hear it in the episode, and then we sent it to Gary to just record over it. And that's how it's worked with every guest star. So Joe gets full say on what's done in the moment, how it's, the inflection, and then sometimes we'll swap it out with somebody. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. Great
you.
question.
Back
Whoa.
to you, Texas.
Hey,
Howdy,
Sheik
y'all.
Stevens.
Yeehaw!
Howdy, y'all. It's Texas.
Welcome.
Texas. I
Um,
love my breakfast. Breakfast.
And I'm wondering, see, we also have a lot of like bloopers that I cut from the episode too.
Are there any that are not so rude
No.
that we can't play them?
No, there's a lot of the ones I cut from the episodes. So there is a vault of episodes pieces that get cut and saved that are really, really bad. Not really bad. Like there's no
Harlan's
But I could
accumulating
ruin
a lot
you,
of-
so you can never leave the podcast.
That's right. It's
No,
like Scientology.
But we could definitely play some of the tamer ones during this one-time live stream.
Oh, can we hear some? I want to hear some right now.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear Alex belching over and over again.
Do we want to listen to Alex? So this is in my folder called "Do Not Use."
Do you know for sure which are the ones that are not?
I
not
have
radio
just
safe?
titles. So here are the titles, and I'll let you choose. This one says
Play at your own risk.
This one says evolution is fascinating. This one says I shouldn't even read that, but this one says a Hitler intro.
Oh no!
Evolution is fascinating. Let's just listen to that.
So we have evolution is fascinating. Hitler intro. I fucked a stone like this. Kiss the tip. Pull it out. This one just says risky. This one we can play. This is a good one. Here we go.
Oh
And
boy!
I look up at the manticores that I can't see, but I know are above and around me, and I yell, "Come on, you!" Let me think about this.
When you muted your mic, I think it knocked out.
Oh, when I immediately knocked out? Okay, I'll just be quiet. Is it loud enough though? I don't know how this sound's gonna work. So I cranked it up. We'll see.
Let's re-listen.
I'll play it from the beginning. Okay, we won't talk.
And I look up at the manticores that I can't see, but I know are above and around me, and I yell, "Come on, you!" Let me think about this for a second. I was gonna say pussies. That doesn't really work.
Actually, because they're kind of lioness, it would be funny, but it'd also be more offensive.
Come on, you scaredy cats! He yells.
That's
Nice.
Good one. Good one, Doran.
Good job,
And,
Alex. Good sensitivity training.
I guess
That thing we sent you to really worked out.
That's where your Patreon dollars are going.
we just didn't have enough money to send Doran, so it's like, Or no, we had enough money to send Doran, not enough money to send Alex.
Not
It's
so
paid by
I
the
guess-
pound.
There you go.
It's so hard not to want to jump in and respond to things, and
I
it turns
know.
out I'll say the exact same thing I just said in the clip because it was
know.
like,
I do that all the time. It's so funny.
We repeat ourselves.
I was like,
Is that-
like, Rob's still muted. How did he say that?
Is that
whole thing.
is that volume okay for you people at home? You let me know because I don't
I
know.
think volume
if-
needs to go up. Personally,
Musical Rose wants to hear Evolution.
Well,
No? Is that too bad?
I don't remember.
you
I
can
think
always stop.
it's a whole risk.
Really risky.
it is
I
a
wanna hear
risk.
Do we say something? I think we might say something mean about, like,
God.
God.
I think we mean God.
It might be
God.
blasphemous at the very least.
We'll do it. Here we
We're
go.
mean to God.
Here we'll try.
All right. Let's-
Volume is pretty good. Okay, here we go. Everyone
volume
mute.
is
Here's
good.
this one's called
risky.
Evolution is Fascinating.
No, evolution is fascinating.
I'd like to say gold is fascinating. Actually, there, Rob. Just kidding. I'll cut that.
You do you, man. All right.
No, I don't believe that. I'm mocking the people who do. I'll cut that. It's not a good color for us.
No, it's not.
But
Make fun of people.
There you go. It's not too bad.
Good.
I'm very self-referential. I'm like, I'll cut that. We don't need that.
Cut that
It's
out.
the power of editing. When you know you have it, you're.
It's like saying something meta.
Here's two versions of Alex trying to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So here's the first one.
Like in that part in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh no!
And here's the second one from like 20 episodes earlier.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh wait.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Well, it sounded
That
more
was not
messed
bad.
up. Doesn't sound
Teenage
bad
Mutant
now that I
Ninja
turned it
Turtles.
up. Oh man.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles? I don't know. It wasn't
You mean
that.
Ninja
Here's one called "Come in Your Arms." Let's try this one. It's a short one.
You're allowing him to come in your arms?
Shut up.
And here is "Beat Off the Lion."
This cat starts to try to maul you, and you just beat it off with your hand. Oh,
Grab its cock.
Are you beating them both off?
well, no.
Yeah, well, the other one's dead.
I mean, you are on a mountainside. You could use them as ski poles.
I thought they were fighting, but
No one can see you, Red, so just go for it.
I can see red. I see everything.
Oh, boy.
So there you
It's
go.
risque.
There's some four. They're not so bad. I don't think I'll play the Hitler intro. I don't think that one's good.
Yeah, no, that's
I'll
okay.
forget about that.
I'll try. We'll try. I fucked a stone like this. It's only
Great.
2 seconds, so it might just literally be that line.
Okay, ready?
But we'll find out who says it.
I fucked a stone like this.
It's just
We
me.
really
There
should
you
have
He's
taken
saying
bets
it.
because
I thought for sure it was going to be Doran.
go. I thought so too.
I know who else could it be?
Who else could it be?
One more here. This one's called Kiss the Tip.
All right. Red pulls another arrow out, kisses the tip, and fires. Always got to kiss the tip. Otherwise, it's not as enjoyable.
So there you go. I think that's probably most of the naughty bloopers.
That's good.
Really, a handful out of 100 episodes isn't that bad.
No.
We're practically saints.
I mean, but there's also some nice stuff that's been pulled out. I pulled out some like this one.
By the light of Moradin.
I keep that. That's like on.
That
you know.
sounds like I could have heard that in like one of those BioWare games or the point
I
and
was
click Baldur's
just
Gate.
about to say.
Like it sounds very.
By the light
I
of
definitely
you're trained-
saved this one and I play it for myself often.
Red's pretty great, FYI.
That's just constantly just.
Red's pretty
Cute.
great, FYI.
And then of course, which started all of this. It's just Alex. It's just Alex in an episode.
Just straight up belching into the microphone.
I would argue that that's not
Shameless.
That is
Are you kidding me?
I pulled it out. Listen to that.
That's you burping.
Reverberation. That's you.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yes. So there have been many moments that we've had to cut on the floor. Some jokes that didn't land, unfortunately. Some jokes that weren't very funny. Or
Some that are not safe for radio.
some that were not safe for radio. But I guess without further ado, we should crack into episode 22.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
So yeah, I think what we'll do is we're gonna play this and we'll sort of do a commentary over it. I think more or less because people who are watching this more or less should have heard this episode already.
That's a
So-
pretty solid
Spoilers.
expectation.
Yeah. So here we go. Episode 22, Deep Water.
There I stood, holding the orc's head in my hand.
I'm not responsible for the moments clerics have.
There are things in this world far worse than giants.
What did you do?
That tabaxi you travel with said that he wants to kiss you today.
I don't understand a single thing he does.
Let's call it personal business. And I
gonna be a
slip
fight
out
episode.
to the alleyway.
Oh, Doran, come to bed. Does that make sense?
No! What?
Oh boy.
I love these clips.
Yeah.
The intros are the best.
The intros are the best.
We
Yeah.
gotta give a hand up to Harlan, our editor.
Yeah, Harlan does such a good
I
job.
want to see who he...
Episode 22, Deep Water.
This week's MVP is Alexei Ozerov for his
Hey!
amazing work on this week's
Hey,
episode. Not only is he a friend of Dice Shame and a fan of this
It is the
podcast, but he has
trumpet
done
one.
some amazing work that you're going to have to listen for in today's episode.
If you guys are in
That's why you
Toronto,
picked it.
BreakoCon is happening March 20th to
BreakoCon.
22nd. There's no better way to close off the March break.
it didn't-
BreakoCon is the premier
didn't
tabletop
happen,
gaming convention in
right?
Toronto.
Turns out,
It
no.
was such a blast.
It got canceled,
The
right?
intro is
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah.
Let's
I wonder
go.
what came up around then.
Oh yeah, what's the intro? I wonder what came up around.
There comes a time in every adventuring party when the question has to be asked, what do we do now?
Oh, I think we just
There are
skipped
threads
it.
tied
Straight
to
into
each
it.
of you, drawing you all in different directions right now. What does your character care most about? What are they excited about learning? Where do they want to travel? I tell you, it is definitely a challenge as a DM. When we sit down at the table together, I'm just hoping that I've prepared the right stuff, you know?
I have to
So
say,
you guys
I
have
love
followed up
all of
on
your
Z's
intro
inheritance.
thoughts,
You got those two magical items
of
from the
time and
butler of
effort
House Than.
Puts a lot of work.
That
into
was
them.
so annoying.
No, he was the
about that,
best.
actually.
Goodbye.
I mean, it's just the speed of bureaucracy.
I remember
There's
that
no
guy.
clear You think Waterdeep's fast-paced, but really it's
I
the
know.
slow-moving bureaucracy
So
of the
slow.
service
Yes.
that
Like deep water.
It's interesting. You can hear it so much so much more
Deep
echoey
water.
because we're in the
get that
room.
undertow, man. The undertow of Waterdeep, don't go there.
You went to Amphail at Miros' request and talked to Arlios' Stonehenge and received a magical ring that you
Starhenge.
haven't really investigated any
Star.
further.
You got the name wrong.
I always get that name wrong.
Is that
It's
a
Starhenge, not Stonehenge.
Give it to Doran.
Interesting.
I have it.
But I
yes.
really want it.
You took
wooden.
Maxine's advice and spoke with the dragon expert Charles Lothyaghorn.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Who told you to
That
go
guy.
seek out Old Gnawbone, a
my
green
favorite.
dragon, and gave you some potions of poison resistance.
Yeah, we each took one.
Yes.
Yes. And finally, Lifferless
Which
asked
did
you to go
nothing
on a hike
for me
pretty
later
far out of
on.
the neighborhood to go to the High Forest.
Hi, Forrest.
Yeah, to look for a moon elf druid.
My thing.
Which sounds pretty fun.
We've done all of that now.
And I think Kraloth and I and Doran were sitting around a table
right,
in the
right,
Bee in the
right.
Barrel.
Yeah, I think
Well-
you guys were closing on a bar, and I was sleeping over at Torrance.
Hear how
Yeah,
echoey
so
Rob is?
I want to start out
'Cause we're in the
with
same
Jack
room.
and Torin. Torin and Jack are in Torin's chamber. The candles are lit. There's the remnants of a fire smoldering
That's
in
me.
the
That was me.
fireplace. It's a chilly night. I think Kieran has let himself back into the room, and you're both laying in bed. There's a little
Long
bit
distance
of
thing, no good.
some sweaty
Yeah.
pillow talk going on.
Yeah. Maybe it is just a moment of quiet where there's this space for like a conversation about could any of the stuff they talked today what future might hold, and I think Jack is like flinching away from that conversation, trying
Yeah.
to just be present in the moment and not spoil it by thinking about futures that can't be. Or
I think Torin's also not keen on repeating the events of this afternoon. He reaches up and pushes a lock of hair out of your eyes, and he says, Jack, that tabaxi you travel with said that he wants to kiss you today. I just want you to tell me that there's nothing that I need to worry about,
he
please.
just doesn't have any boundaries.
As if Jack,
I don't
as
know.
if Torin
I
would ever have
I
to
don't know
worry
why he
about
said it.
me,
Just tell me there's
Red.
nothing there.
Oh, Torin, there's nothing there. I'm not sure there's anything there at all.
Ouch!
And that's the biggest mystery to me. I don't understand a single thing he does.
What do you mean?
He decided to be the only one in his giant family to come and sell arrows on this side of the pond, so he says, but he set out not knowing where he ended up. He ended up in a bar, and I hired him once to help me haul some stuff to a dig site. And then we ended up here. Mysteries
Sounds
that have
like you
been
don't
long
like him
teased
very
out
much.
there.
Oh, they're coming.
He's really thoughtful and smart in some really specific ways, but just endlessly frustrating in some others. Like the other day, he woke up. He literally had a prophetic dream of some kind. His fur smelled of sea spray, and he was talking about a whole other awful ritual of sacrifice he'd seen, and then thought, it's not worth talking about. I don't want to talk about it. It's just a dream.
But why does he want to kiss you?
When did he say that?
Just at the bar. You and I had just spoken together this afternoon, and I was getting back to work. He said that he thinks you're a great guy and he sometimes wants to kiss you.
I really appreciate the
I'll talk to him,
emotional
but I promise
trauma
you
that goes on here.
Oh,
Let's just pause for
yeah.
a
I'm
second.
gonna pause for a second.
Yeah.
That's weighty.
Yeah.
What
Actually,
a-
I'll wait
what a
till the
scene.
I'll wait till the scene changes.
Oh,
a
sure,
There
little
isn't
bit.
anything
I'm sure
in
it'll change
between
in a second.
he and I. That's not I don't connect with him in that way at all.
That's good to know, I guess. It worries me that you have people in your party that you're gonna have to rely on. He seems like kind of a loose cannon.
In a pinch, Red was the one who kept his head and told me where to put pressure and helped me keep Kraloth alive. The time he was on the ground dying, and the other time he was on the ground dying when we were in Nightstone with those bandits barreling down at us. I mean, Red was the one who had his head there and helped me get through it. Without him, I mean, we'd have probably died before the letter I sent you had any chance to save that town. So he's got skills. He's an incredible shot. I've seen him put an ogre down with 2 arrows.
That's some comfort, at least.
Yeah.
Jack, listen, about what I asked you earlier. Forget I said anything. I understand that you're busy.
No,
and please, just... It seems like right now Faerun needs you more than I do. Just don't fucking die, okay?
Torin, what you were talking about, that life, sometimes I wish that was what we could be. And I would never ask you not to work at the Copper Cup, not to this is your endeavor, and I carry a piece of you with me everywhere. You're always in my heart. You're never far from my thoughts.
He embraces you and then excuses himself to go to the washroom. You see like a glimmer of tears in his eyes, maybe, and then he returns after a minute, and the two of you hold each other and fall asleep.
Beautiful. And you hear a flush as you walk back. No, that was really nice. That was a really good scene, Rob. A really great role play.
Really
Thank
good.
you. One of the best dynamics that I think just was highlighted in there is just because Red and Jack in danger tend to pull back, it means we're the last men standing most of the time in like the most desperate situations where we've got to be clutch and like get a thing done. Like, and so I think that adds a really interesting dynamic to like, I know you're there to save my life, but I don't understand a single other thing about your whole deal.
Yeah. No, it's true. And
certainly by that point. At 20
absolutely.
episodes in.
We're so different now, but I really... And it's funny because I think it's true. Rob and I are the more present players, I think. You and I are the active members of Dice Shame's crew. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. I think Alex and Justin... I think Alex and Justin's sort of default, and it's not to say that their only way, but their default is to be more passive. Let the experiences happen and carve stories within that. You know, whereas I think Rob and I go out and seek like the next stage of it. I think we really try to, and both of, you know, necessarily at times to everyone's chagrin, because I think we do tend to go off path.
And in fact, often we have arguments about that. Harlan will sit there and process every possible outcome of every possible scenario, and I'm like, can we just roll a goddamn dice and see what happens?
Yeah,
but there's good and bad to all of those.
But
that's the most brother energy it gets when we're recording, though, is those moments where it's like, oh, these people definitely know each other forever.
And we definitely have brother energy. And in the end, I think it's difficult because we're always walking the line between a podcast and also realizing that we can die. So sometimes we do, and we developed a rule after. Can anyone remember what episode it was? Because there was a big
way too
blowout.
Many.
There was one. There was one episode where afterwards we decided that we would have to stop the role playing, have a meta discussion, and then
there was Grudhog. I think there was way too much stuff going on to be, and we were trying to be so strategic and get in and get out.
You were very concerned about surviving, right? And so you wanted to spend a bunch of time talking about the strategy.
Yeah.
And none of that conversation really made it into the episode because it just got kind of tedious.
Well, and ended up being my frustration because I realized that I would have to like cut around our in-person and out-of-person conversations to form like a semblance of... So we ended up, I think ever since then, we were just like, cool... If we need to have a conversation, we're going to just like pause. We still record, but we just like kind of pause the action, have our conversation, and then pick it back up.
Yep.
And more or less, I mean, that's served us well.
I feel so bad for Torin. That long distance relationship, not good for anybody, especially not one with Jack. His life is trash, man.
It's a hard thing to process, and I think Torin kind of holds Jack at a bit of arm's length at times because... You know, it's hard to want to be near someone.
Who wants to be second fiddle to a rock?
I know. It's interesting because I think I could see Jack and Torin's relationship coming to an end during the
I think there was a time or two I've definitely thought they were breaking up at least a couple of times where it was like, oh, that's where that's going. Oh, that feels too real.
But it's difficult though because like as a GM, I'm sure Joe, you're conflicted with like it's not really, you know, you don't want to impose like a breakup on somebody's fictitious
No, of course,
girlfriend.
because you know Rob's written this character into his backstory, and so I want to be nice to the character because I like that Rob did that, but at the same time, you know, you want to tell a good story, so if it makes sense,
I mean, he's definitely fair game narratively for whatever because that's the point.
Episode 100, Torin's head gets chopped off.
Oh, don't tell them, Harlan. We have to show the episode.
Anyway, let's keep listening.
101, sorry.
101, sorry.
Let's listen.
I just wanted one quick comment. I think it's impressive, Alex. Rob, how you managed to pull these deep emotions out of your not necessarily your character, but of this scenario. You managed to create that. This love for Tauren. You know, I think it's impressive in some ways. You know, in many ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun holding space for that kind of, because it's not your typical.
No, it's not, and that's what makes it so unique and interesting. You know,
I think that's what we aim to do, which is exciting.
Let's do it. What happens next?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
Back at the Bee and the Barrel.
Yeah.
Guys, it's getting really late. We see a busy tap room. Red and Kraloth are deep in conversation. They have their heads together in the corner of the bar. And Doran is sitting at the bar, entertaining the locals with tall tales such as only he can tell.
And you wouldn't believe it. There I stood, on the top of the hill, holding the orc's head in my hand. And just as I looked down to applaud my kin for the amazing battle we just withstood, didn't I turn around and realize there was another army behind us? I threw the head into the army, and just like that, the rest of my flank followed me into battle. And not only did we destroy one army that day, we took down two orcish armies.
My favorite is how
you can believe it.
I feel like as the crowd is like clapping and awing, Kraloth and I are actually,
and then has
like,
to deal with
sort of
the
turned
implications
looking,
of them
watching
later.
them a
Once it's
little
like,
bit.
I
oh, I
know.
made up some bullshit, and then
He throws that in a story, and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, Stunton Danlitz Peak, yeah, that's a whole thing now."
yeah.
Which Joe
A couple of
takes
times,
though.
I think. Yeah. Oh,
No, it's great.
How many times have you heard that story? This is the fourth for me.
Oh, at least 5.
Doesn't it seem like every single time the orc army gets a little bigger?
A little bit bigger.
First it was 1, and then it was, 2 score this time?
Yep, something like that.
He's quite a character. I'm really happy we met him, you know?
You know, me too. And I have to say that I feel like I've improved as a fighter since we first started traveling together. I mean,
Me too.
you remember our first day in
Oh,
Nightstone?
God, yes.
That was,
I ran into the square and alerted that warg or whatever
that's
creature
right.
it was.
And I ran in right behind you, but then I forgot you can climb.
You did run in right after behind me, didn't you?
Yep. I
You just
did.
had me on your mind, trying to protect me.
That's right. And then I found myself surrounded by wargs, and then I found myself unconscious on the ground.
Did I ever thank you for coming in after me?
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Well, you know what? If I didn't, thank you. I appreciate you very much. You know, I've been thinking about this since we arrived in
voice changed a lot,
Waterdeep,
too.
kind of reliving how you and I met in all
Yeah,
that.
my voice goes between like sort of a more angry British and like Stewie Griffin. Like there's a spectrum.
Oh, interesting. It
Someone
definitely sounded a little
can-
more nasally in my brain
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have been sick because I sound more nasally than I ever really do. But you know what? Depending on when we record, that changes. We all, because we're all fucking old fucks now. We all sound so much more nasally in the morning. If we do an 8 a.m. recording, we all kind of sound a little bit like we just got out of bed.
I just wanted to make another compliment to you, Harlan, for your role playing, in that you know, you hear a lot of this. It sounds so natural. I mean, it's hard to convince people that we come up with this stuff on the spot because it's just so good at times.
It's funny,
you know?
when we first were promoting this or whatever, there was a few things on Reddit that I would like, you know, try to spam and advertise and be like, you know, here's another fucking D&D podcast. But one of the complaints that someone was like, this sounds like way too scripted. And I was like, it's not. Like I cut it, but it's not scripted. Like none of the events, especially in the first like 20 episodes. And he was like, nah, I don't believe it. You guys are like hitting the timing as if it's like a comedy show.
Thank you, but
I was like,
you're
thank you, but
wrong.
don't stop listening because it's
We're
not
that
true.
good. Yes, we are that good.
Just natural.
Yeah.
We've been whisked away to this crazy ordning. What do you?
It's
What
a
do you
good
take
summary
on this? What is
episode.
your
Like
grand
re-summarizes
idea?
everything that's happened. We need more of these.
As long as I'm with the 3 of you, I'm happy. I mean,
Yeah, you could
we'll
intro
go into
this
battle,
episode.
we'll face giants,
shouldn't,
but seems the thing to me that's stayed consistent and has stayed a positive aspect in my life is the friendship that we've all formed together. So I say ordering. As long as I got the 3 of you, bring it on.
Alex.
I'm
That was not a
feeling
sound
about
effect.
the same, I think. I mean, obviously, I think we work really well as a team, and obviously, you're my best friend, and I know that Doran and I have butt heads at certain circumstances, but ultimately, I think we respect each other.
No, so I didn't mention Jack.
Jack, I think he and I butt heads at times too, but I would still call him my friend. I hope that whatever comes next, we tackle it together. I worry to think of some of these forces that we come up against. Those 2 hill giants in Golden Fields, they were not small.
Now, if you all think that was a story for the records, wait until you hear this one. There I lied on the ground, 2 arrows in my chest. And would you believe it? That little fox.
And Doran points across the bar to Red and Kraloth.
That little fox over there, with his keen eye, managed to take down an ogre with 2 arrows himself. This is a sight for your eyes, all of you.
For your
The
eyes.
bar erupts into
But this is a
applause.
sight
People are
for
buying you
all the
rounds of
praise.
drinks. In the middle of this chaos, a halfling enters. Does a double
this is
take.
Orin.
And then marches across the room and taps you right on the shoulder, Doran. Orin Yogolvi, at your service, Master Iron Fist.
I forgot
I'm
about
so
Orin.
pleased I found ye. I thought just check one more tavern, Orin, and if you didn't find them, call it a night and get a hot dinner in you. But there you are, in the flesh. I couldn't find you the morning after the giant's attack. It was too much fuss all over the place, and folk were so disoriented from the party and all. Miro said you'd be headed to Waterdeep, so I came straight here to find you, and I've been looking for 2 days, and I'd just about given up hope. He grabs your tankard of ale and takes a big swig from it, and then puts it back down on the table. Well, a bard is always looking for a band of noble heroes such as yourselves to tag along with. I'm not much for slaying ogres and giants myself, but gah, if it isn't the stuff of the greatest legends of our time. I knew I'd have to find ye. I beg of ye, let me come with ye.
Doran, surprised by the small halfling, jumps from the top of the bar where he stands and, with a solid thud, hits the ground, both his feet, sticks out an arm and says,
Orin, that's a really nice name. And I would love if you came along and sang some songs about us. Let me introduce you to a couple of my companions
This is good,
that
this
I've
is
got
good.
here with me tonight.
It's killing me that we've got Orin, Doran, and Torin.
For real.
Love it.
Let me just tell you right now, this is not the end of the rhyming scheme.
Oh no!
These are written names. Orin
forgot all
Yogolvi.
about
If you
that.
remember, he is the...
You haven't met him yet, but
Who
there's
else was we haven't met him yet?
no, but
100
there's another
almost-
one.
Oh boy!
Almost 80 episodes later, and we still haven't met the other.
He's another dwarf.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Tabaxis are normally cats, but Red's a fox.
author of It's High Harvest
He's just foxy.
Tide in Golden Field, the song that Alex sang for us.
I was just say I recognize the name.
Yes.
Harvest high.
As you steer Orin toward the table with your friends, Doran, he's continues his reassurances. I won't get in your way, I promise. I will write the songs about ye that will net ye any maiden that you could land your eye upon.
Orin and I walk up to Red.
Doran?
What, Alex?
I love Joe's accent of Orin. I just
Yeah,
I
it's
had
so
to, I
good.
meant to mention that.
Yeah.
Ye, I thought I'd help ye.
Yeah, it's good. It's like
that. I
not
love
Irish, but it's like up there. It's something.
This
just
is
so
before we
friendly.
forgot him in a field and ran away
Yeah.
from him with. Like Orin
was a
sees
sad
some shit
moment,
on this
too.
adventure. I'm glad he gets to retire.
He's safe
somewhere
for now.
a
You
minute.
know,
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
For now.
for now.
This is Orin.
Orin?
Orin, my friend Red and Kraloth.
Doran, where did you meet Orin?
Orin, where did you come from?
I came down by way of North Furrow Road.
And you met Doran?
I did. I came in here and I said, Orin, there's Doran.
Did you see Torin?
Who's Torin?
Torin is at the Cuppa Cup hole.
With Jack.
Jack doesn't rhyme.
Y'all are making my head spin.
Yeah.
So that just, I mean, a little behind the scenes there. I remember being in the room, and I remember you and I, Alex, were like, "Oh, it
Let's
was like,
riff on this for a
let's
second.
riff for a second."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
think we threw a bit back and forth to make that joke land. But well,
yeah.
because some
Nothing
people.
was scripted per se, but
No,
there
it wasn't scripted, but definitely we're like, oh, let's just take a moment and hit that humor like proper, and then I
like
cut it
you
up.
come up, you come up with it on
Yeah.
the spot, and then you go, oh, there's something really good there. Try if you do this, then I'll do
yeah,
this.
yeah.
and
Sometimes,
it'll-
yeah. There's like a bit of improv element and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I introduce you to Orin,
Well,
and I.
hello. I remember you. You were at the Golden Fields. Yes, we heard your song. It was quite lovely.
Oh, why, thank you very much. It's absolutely my finest talent, wordsmithing, and writing songs.
She
No, you
said
came in just in time for me to show off
orating
my
the
talent,
thing.
Doran. You were saying about how I could hit the broadside of a what's-it, and I stand up on the table and pull up my bow and aim it.
The bartender's like, up,
But
not
the
in
crowd
here.
is too loud.
No
They're like
weapons.
still clapping at the end of Doran's story, and I pull an arrow
You do
and
remember
draw
what
it back.
happened last time, right?
What do you mean what happened last time? I wouldn't do it this time. I've only had 4 or 5 drinks
Smash
this time.
cut to the 4 of us all getting thrown out of the bar.
Yeah. Well, I would have hit it if the apple stayed still. Tell him I'm sorry and that if he ever gets his sight back, then he can come look me up. My name is Jack Page.
And stay out.
That is a good joke.
That's a
by the
very
way.
good joke.
I really
If he ever gets his
forgot about
sight
that.
back, he
tell
can
him
look
my
me
name
up.
is Jack Page.
What a jerk.
Fucking funny.
Oh, here's where we learn about Doran's goblin wife.
Oh yeah, when they're
Now,
doing-
Warren, I must say, if you're gonna stay with us, it's not entirely up to me. You'll have to clear it with Red here and
You can
Krayla.
stay with us.
And Jack when he comes back too. You see, we can't be responsible for your safety.
Doran, Jack loves people that sound like Rorin. He'll love Orin.
You can look after your own rations, though, right? I mean, we've only got so much money and food to go around.
Oh, of course. And I'm not sure if you had your share of grog there in the bee in the barrel.
Why, do you have more?
He opens the side of his waistcoat and he pulls out a flask and he shakes it at the 3 of
My
you.
best friend.
I think that's an automatic in.
He's part
Welcome.
of the team. Team Super Giant Killers.
Yes.
I'll come up with a really
This was
wonderful
before
name.
Team
Yeah, that's
Awesome
his
Boys.
job, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I
you
didn't know
make
we
it
had
rhyme
teams
with-
that early.
Because no, I remember Team Corpse Inspectors came around episode 60, I think, because I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go finish with that.
I remember saying it as a intellectual response to you guys having it. Team Awesome Boys came up because I was like, Red was like embarrassed that they didn't have a title, and they were doing it going down into the cave. I remember.
I really like the rhyming in like, oh, Orin finds what he's looking for at the bee in the barrel because
Right?
right.
The
You know,
bee and the barrel?
I just like the like story rhyming of that. Listening back to it, that's very fun.
This was actually
Fortuitous.
the start of our feud, I believe. I don't think because I think
Were we
were
locked
like
out?
The bee.
That's after.
that's after.
in,
That was
Okay.
Rassalantar.
No.
Rassalantar.
No. That's in.
Amphel or something.
No.
It was one of those towns on the way up.
It's right before Grudhog. I gotta
Yeah,
look it up.
there's like Rassalantar and then another weird city. And
Tell
then,
you in a
like,
second.
It's one of those weird.
Doran. Do you think Jack will approve? I think Jack will approve.
We'll find
I
out.
wish Jack was here.
Well, we'll reunite with him soon.
Oh, here he comes,
This
walking
is
down the hill
Alexia.
right now.
No, he's
Red
a
Larch.
Nope.
You guys fight.
It's a different lanky wizard looking fella.
He does seem to go off on his own quite a bit.
They all look the same in Waterdeep.
He
you know?
does. He does. I guess he's just a different type than you, me, and Doran. I mean, he likes his alone time, and that's all right.
Plus, he's got his lover here, and there's nothing wrong with having a night with your lover. Only I had a night with my lover.
Doran, are you saying what I think you're saying?
That's gonna depend, Tabaxi. What are you saying?
You wanted a night with your lover? What am I? Are we not?
You're not my type.
But I love you. You said it before. I love you too.
But I think he means lover in a different sense, Red.
Yes.
Someone who keeps your bed warm at night, but not the way that we keep each other's bedrolls warm at night. It's like a special kind of. Doran, can you take over for me? What kind of love?
You look like you're struggling there.
I'm not following.
Listen, when my
God, I love the
ex-wife
sound of Waterdeep.
used to say to me,
too.
"Oh, Doran, come to bed," I knew what that meant, and I would take off my armor.
I think what Doran means to say is that when a man loves a woman, or when a man loves a man, or when a woman loves a woman.
Look, I don't understand, Doran. If I'm not your type, then who is?
Well, I won't admit this openly to many, but my ex-wife was a goblin. What? And let me just tell you, she
trumpet
was
background?
ferocious.
Are you saying your
She was
ex-wife was a goblin?
Yes.
Really?
Just don't spread that around. That's
But you don't speak goblin.
that's what
So I'll tell the
kept the
bar they
relationship
just met.
Yeah.
going.
I won't tell anybody.
Now, let me think. It was that battle, and then I'm going to say it must have been 15 years.
Are you referring to your own interpersonal battles or like historic battles?
You were married to a goblin for 15 years?
Yes.
Where did you meet? How did you meet?
Well, we met on the battlefield, and it was shortly after a battle that she broke up with me because, well, turns out I killed a bunch of her family.
But she's still alive.
Well, she is, yeah.
Do you ever try to reconnect?
No, she tried to kill me, and I nearly killed her.
I'm sure that we could carve out time to...
Nope, never. That chapter is closed.
Doran, I hate to think that you left things
You see, Red?
Done.
And that's when Oren jumps in. When the man loves a woman.
You mean when a dwarf loves a goblin?
I was sure it was going to be Love is a Battlefield.
Oh, that's good.
Love is a battlefield.
Look, that's fair. I didn't mean to sidestep. I guess I
Jessica
just
just made my
misunderstood.
joke in the
I
chat.
meant love. In
Yeah,
the way that
someone
I love
literally
you
just-
guys, not in the way that you love your ex-goblin
Nice.
wife.
Perhaps we should put it like this. I want to mate.
Oh.
Red, I don't want to mate with you.
Oh. Well, I don't want to mate with anybody. No, I understand that.
Okay.
I guess I misunderstood.
Fellas. And I like point up, and there's just like 4 like windows with window shutters.
Yeah,
like,
we've been like standing in the
candlelight, like,
center
It's
of
a
the
hot
cobblestone
night.
street.
yeah, nightcaps on, like looking out, just like there's one lady just like
A
ogling
dwarf
us.
woman is like, hello.
No, he only likes goblins.
As you head into the
Yeah, a lot of. First off, shout out to Alexi's amazing trumpet playing.
Oh my god.
Huge
Holy
props.
Impressive.
Such a talent. He's
So
incredible.
phenomenal. He did an absolutely amazing job there.
Yep.
Secondly, that's where there's a lot of reveals in this episode.
Yeah.
This is really good. The reveal of Cremelot, right?
Yeah, Kremlot.
And also sort of the first mention of Red being asexual, which is really interesting too. I forgot about that being dropped in this episode too. There's a lot of little sort of character building things there.
Additionally, it's interesting that we chose this episode to listen to because we've recorded a couple past 100,
Yeah.
and there may be a
Some
subsequent
callbacks.
potential romance.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh,
He
yeah.
says he's only interested in goblins, but that's
Well,
not
I don't
exactly
know about
true.
that. But there's something else that was interesting
right.
that came up too that we just heard, which is sort of something that. Oh no, it wasn't. It was another blooper that did not make my blooper reel. But I do remember Alex saying a joke
Oh my god.
about liking the taste
The
of
taste
goblin.
of goblin
Yeah.
flesh.
Oh, yeah.
And
Because
then, and then I remember it being like, "What do you mean you ate goblin?" He's like, "In a manner of speaking."
Oh, God.
And we cut it because it was
it was a lot.
it was a bit
It was
too.
a lot.
It was too much of a hard shift.
Go too far sometimes.
But but that would have been a good one to keep now and then
Yeah.
play. So
Good times.
I got so excited at the Ace Rep reveal. Thank you, Perrin. Yeah, I was really excited about it too. And I want to clarify that Red's naivete in the scene is not reflective of an Ace person, but Red as a person. And then you know what I mean. I don't want you to think that I was trying to be ignorant towards people.
Who is Shake Stevens? I know a
Common-
goblin with a bad leg. He's a hoblin goblin.
no.
See, this is why you got divorced. Room of the Copper Cup Fest Hall and find the appropriate staircase to your rooms. A tired-looking bartender waves. You there, Tabaxi.
Oh.
A moment,
Oh,
if you
this
please.
is the bit of the
Of course. I walk over.
He hands something to you.
What is it?
I'm going to text you
Oh.
about it.
Secrets.
Age of technology.
Red walks over and takes it. Oh, thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
And I join Kraloth and Doran.
Quick note: that's a decision I don't think I'd make nowadays. I don't think I would have left in that you texted me.
Oh.
I think now if we were to do something similar, which we have, I think I probably would just have Red walk over, take the note from him, and play it off like
That's
normal.
fair. Yeah, we do a couple of little, like, I will send someone something on Discord or
Yeah.
whatever.
Things, but just fucking unmute to burp again. God damn it. But yeah, there's definitely things that we've perfected over time and figuring out what we want on.
Well, it's about
on
a style,
video.
right? It's figuring out which
that's
parts
it.
of playing the game are the ones that need to be in the show and which parts of
Yeah.
like, the act of playing the game don't.
Exactly. So I don't know if I.
No, this isn't the mystery stuff that you still don't know about. And
no,
Oren.
This is, I think.
Hello.
Right.
Oh,
This
right.
is the
Or-
birthday
Sometimes
present.
I forget you're there. You're just,
Say, does Oren have a room?
I thought this was the letter
I
from
was
D.
hoping I'd stay with you.
You can stay with me.
Why, thank you.
Cool.
Perfect.
What was that about?
Oh, nothing. Just the bartender wanted me to... Just a note. It's all good.
What's the note say?
It's just, well, it's something. I don't know.
Does it have to do with that? I like stop and I wink at Red, just like okay.
Oren waggles his eyebrows at you.
And Red appreciatively nods. Thanks. Hey, put it this way, it's nothing worrisome. Let's call it personal business.
All right. Well, I mean, on that note, I'm bushed.
Yeah.
I think it's time to hit the hay.
Me too. Come on, Oren. We can share a bed.
Good night, heroes.
Doran goes into his room and you hear the loud thud of his axe going into the bed frame.
That.
That's
He
right.
cuts it.
Always. He always
That's
puts his
so
axe.
good.
I love that.
Wherever
It's
he
just
sleeps, it's like all these notches where all the dwarves put their axes and like.
It's two thuds. The first thud is the axe hitting the bed, and the second thud is Doran hitting the bed.
Yeah.
So good. So, did we just make a canon that your ex-wife was Goblin?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I love
Go
that.
back around.
Wow.
So, everyone sleeps soundly.
Red gets up before Dawn's first light, like very purposefully makes sure that he gets up. Hopefully not disturbing Oren. And I slip downstairs. We have slept together for weeks now. I'm well aware of when everybody else gets up. So I make sure that it's before anyone else does. I head downstairs and I slip out to the alleyway and I find an early morning cart on the street that's like loading fish heads or something. And I'm just like, excuse me, do you know Ladette's barrels?
Yes. Just down that way toward the wharf.
Thank you.
I think we'll skip this part
My
because
best voice ever.
we want to get to episode 100 soon, and we took too long talking excitedly, so I'm going to skip a little bit ahead.
So Red goes to Ladette's Barrels, gets a package that Torin left.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know at the time, but yeah, I remember getting this letter.
It's Jack's birthday present.
And Joe was just like, and I remember because Torin's letter, more or less, I think, or maybe you told me out afterwards when I asked you, but you were kind of like, Torin is worried that the relationship between Red and Jack isn't safe enough to keep Jack protected. So Torin is trusting you to build that. Like, I think the conversation that Torin and Jack had made Torin be like, he doesn't see much in Red. I want to work them closer together so that his team is more unified.
And he'll be the one to give the
Just
birthday
funny because I
present.
remember later when this all comes out, you were, I can't remember if it made it in the episode, but I remember you being like, why would Torin give this to Red? Clearly he doesn't understand me, when the way she explained it to me beforehand was like, Torin wants you guys to be closer. That's why he's giving it to you, which I thought was actually kind of a clever move too. Obviously the secret stuff.
Well,
comes
interesting
back.
because didn't we say Hampered House was episode 50 or not 50?
It's like
35, 36.
Right, so
Yeah.
15 or 16 hours later that we get to, the reveal of what that present is.
Was
Yeah.
that where it was, the humper? I thought it was in the woods on your birthday.
Well,
I
yeah,
remember
but
being-
that's the same day. That was a long
Was
day.
it?
Because we were drunk
will
off that
tell you.
wine when we went to the Hampered House.
That's right. Wait,
Were we?
no, because I don't think I gave it to you on your birthday. I think I was supposed to, and I don't
No,
know.
but okay, so
You know
we
what,
opened
fucking
it and
show.
drank it on that day. Anyways,
I do
know
remember
it's not
opening it.
scripted. When we can't even remember what the hell we recorded.
I searched through the script.
I've written
So
down
it's
what happened with-
11 campaign days later.
Oh my god.
All right, so I'll skip to the end of this episode because I think we want to get into 100. Right?
Yeah.
That's kinda
I
what-
just wanted to do one
teased it
last
for long
compliment, throw it out to Joe here for creating these characters and playing these characters in such a way that I find myself getting so deep into the episode, listening to the character, forgetting that it's Joe talking. It's
Aw.
not the DM
Thanks.
talking, it's the NPC speaking.
It's Oren
through.
Ogilvy.
Exactly.
Oren.
How are ye?
I'm just gonna skim the episode. Skim the episode. I want to see what happened exactly.
And hobgoblins and bugbears and all these things around giants. I wonder if there's anybody who really knew them intimately that they could, what a goblin senses smells like. I have never.
Now that Doran's sober, is he like just embarrassed and like
Oh,
pretends
yeah, this
it
is-
never happened? Or
When you were trying to,
Great question.
In fact, he's like, they probably have okay smell.
I love the idea that he forgets that he told us,
Oh no, that's great.
and that you and I are like
Yeah.
we share a look. All right. I did get a really good look at those giants' feet when they died. While Krayleth and I,
Ingredients that you might use.
he looks at the apothecary guide. He's like, "You old
Oh,
man,
yeah.
did you do something to my friend?"
This is the first time
No.
Kraloth
Did he
sees
say something to you?
Captain Trenieros.
but doesn't he So it's an apothecary the first time and an apothecary the second time? Oh, no. It's an apothecary the first time and second time it's like a...
On the hill.
Yeah, no, it's like a magic ball person bringing him into the room. Like
That's not the second time.
Or whatever. I mean, it's the time he actually contacts him.
Knowing the best way to support them. I might just...
I wonder how the episode ends.
He's really quick to pick that up.
Slowly, gradually, as Red talks, as he recalls Kraloth's shoulders, the tension starts to relax out of them.
Are you flossing?
And he resheaths his mace, but he continues to stare out over water, almost distantly.
You forgot he was on camera.
Live on camera.
And without making eye contact, he says, Red, there are things in this world that are far worse than giants or dragons. There are ways that you can be that are far worse than death.
Ooh. Ugh. This is a good episode.
Tell me about the rabbit jerky again.
That's also a great last line.
Tell me
and
about
I
the
remember...
That was a retake, wasn't it?
No, yeah, that was wasn't a retake. It was a Rob suggestion. I remember Rob being like, "Oh, you should have ended it saying something about the rabbit jerky because of the mice and men." And I remember being like, "Oh, that's so great, Justin, say it." And then he said it. That definitely was a suggestion that we cut in. But
brilliant.
I'm curious who the patrons are. Or what
You're gonna talk so much slower in these.
More intrigue in the city of splendor, I suppose. Follow us on Instagram for funny pictures, memes, and more. And don't forget to join our Discord server. It's where everybody chats. See you soon.
This is before we did the shoutouts, before we redid the Patreon tiers.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You
Yeah.
know what time it is.
Let's fast forward.
No, that's the end. We're going to 100
episodes.
right now. Yeah, we
88
fast forward 80. How many? 88. 88.
No.
We're on 22 now.
78.
22?
78 plus
78.
22 is 100.
I was only repeating him. Don't blame me. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Episode 100.
We gotta respect the episode because
Yeah,
no
well,
one's heard
I'll
this
mute.
yet. We're
Well,
gonna
Joe and I
mute.
can't mute,
I'm just
but
going to do physical acting.
Yeah.
but what I'll do is sort of on act
pause.
breaks, I will pause and we'll talk because I think this
Cool.
one is.
I haven't
fun
heard
to
this one yet. I saw that got cut
No.
up this morning, and I haven't had a chance to hear the final
Here we
edit. So I'm
go,
excited.
ladies and
good.
gentlemen.
Yeah, same.
Episode 100.
Enjoy.
Feed a cold.
Ooh. Oh, I'm just microtonal. That's why.
No, you can't move there. Can you move there?
We're not paying every town's taxes.
How do you say scone in giant?
You go to the most trustworthy member, which we've established is the baker.
He's digging through the bed sheets.
Did I kill it? Jack!
How high do you think we're up right now?
It's awful. Blood is everywhere.
Who even decides to live in such a place?
Damien! Watch sail.
It looks
I feel
clear.
like he's dated a tax collector. I used to date a tax collector.
That's great.
You know, when I was 28.
If you're not turned on by columns and sums, let me tell you, you're missing out.
Welcome back to Dice Shame episode 100.
Woo!
Today's episode is called Feed a Cold.
MVP this week goes out to all of our incredible patrons. Nearly 2 years ago, Dice Shame started as a direct result of your generous support. As your numbers grew, we were able to purchase better recording gear, host digital gaming conventions, and spawn another brand new show, Malevolent. We are so incredibly grateful for all your kind words and your contributions to the show. And so we wanted to take a second to say thank you so much for making all of this possible. And an extra shout out to the Great Old Ones tier for blowing us away with your generosity. A special thank you to Christopher Ryan Evans, Mitchell Caldwell, and Merlin.
Thank you so much, guys. 100 episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 100 episodes, we have been elated to bring you Dice Shame. Spawning from an 8-hour conversation on the long ride down from Toronto to Indianapolis 2 years ago, this podcast has grown into something that not only brings us untold amounts of joy to create and produce, but also something we are so immensely proud of. Thank you for listening, reviewing, sharing, loving, and letting us into your homes these past 100 episodes, and we promise to keep being there for as long as we can.
All right, Harlan. Should we get down to business?
Let's do it!
I'm going to pause before we get into it because that's the longest the intro's ever gone.
So long.
I don't even recognize that part of the song where it's like.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's
really
just a
weird.
movie right at the end there.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, this episode will come out at like
Tonight.
1:20 a.m. tonight. please make sure, everyone listening, watching, you go review it. Give us a nice review. I know Spotify is doing reviews now, but whether you use Podchaser or Apple, whatever, please, we would love to get 100 to have a review.
And enjoy the episode.
All right, here we go.
It's episode 100!
Wow, already?
Our intrepid band of adventurers has certainly come a long way from where we started it all.
Yeah.
From the road leading up to the settlement of a town called Nightstone. You guys remember back then?
Nightstone. Doesn't ring any bells.
Back when it used to be called Nightstone, now it's called something completely different. Yeah.
That's when I first met you people.
Since then, you guys have done a lot.
Yeah.
Let's just go back and remember. You've attended the subterranean wedding of a satyr and a mushroom person in the depths of the high forest.
That's right.
Right.
That's pretty beautiful, honestly, all things considered.
Yep.
That was fun, guys.
Hope they're doing well.
You opened an orphanage in the ruins of an old manor.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You attracted the ire of a band of immortal hunt lords eternally bent on your doom.
Yeah.
We call that Tuesday.
You rooted out the evils of a hill giant hive and killed its queen. Remember?
I'm still sad about that that puppet theater that got thrown at us or whatever.
She couldn't move. We rolled her into a hole.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
tragic.
Yeah. And Kreloth killed a chick in the basement there.
That's
Yes.
right. Don't forget that
Oh,
Kreloth
yeah.
murdered someone in cold blood.
Hey, well, I mean, we started an orphanage from it, so I guess it balances out now.
It's all about the
It's
balance.
all about the balance.
I mean, it's just what should happen for people who deal with devils.
Right? I mean, we're
Dun,
still
dun,
talking about it. You rode dog sleds through a blizzard to investigate an ancient magic spire lost to time.
That's right.
You were fooled by an imp who tried its utmost to tear your friendship to pieces.
Not all of us, no.
You defended a city against an onslaught of giants attracted by an autumn festival.
Yeah.
You traversed the peaks of the mountains at the spine of the world, and now here you sit, passengers and conductors of an airship lent to you by an ancient red dragon. And so, before we start tonight's episode, I wanted to take a second to thank each and every one of you for the part you play in weaving this story.
Aww.
Alex,
Oh.
I want to start with you. There has never been a dwarf quite like Doran. With his bravery and his heart, he is the driving force of the Nightstone Four. When the party quarrels, Doran is there to sternly lock you out of the house until you make up on the roof. And when there's a drink to be had, Doran is there, even if it's mid-combat, filling up his tankard.
A heart so big he could even love a goblin.
With a pony named Shitfart, you might mistake him for the comic relief, but his past shows layers of regret, resolve, loyalty, and the dwarves of the realm know him by his steel. Whenever we get to sit down and play D&D with Alex, I'm always excited, even when he can't pronounce the simplest of words, time and time again.
Meta.
Alex laughs at himself, at us, and at our mistakes, and he never takes it too far or too seriously. He's by far the rudest, most obnoxious, most annoying player, and we all love him so dearly for it. Alex, thank you for taking this journey with us.
Well, thank
Hey.
you very much, Joe.
We're walking the fine line on roast.
Rob,
It's just so
how would the Nightstone Four get along without Jack?
better.
Beyond being the intellectual Swiss Army knife of the group, Jack is an emotional cornerstone. He's a sensitive guy, no matter how desperately he might try to bury his feelings in his work. He's tugged in 1,000 directions. He wants to protect the man he loves. He wants to shelter the lost children. He wants to learn everything he can about the people around him out of genuine love and curiosity. Yes, he's a pompous ass sometimes who wants you to acknowledge his powerful intellect, but deep down, he's an awkward teen trying his best to contact the Fae realm so that he can make his first real friend. Rob brings a lot to the gaming table, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, lore, enthusiasm. He's our chronicler, our scheduler, sensible and logical.
My favorite part of playing with Rob is when he thinks of something new or puts a detail into place in his mind and he gets eureka face. Plus, we've adopted his vocabulary into our own whenever we say, I think there's a play here.
Yeah, absolutely. I do that in real life so much. There's a play here where...
Rob, the show would be utter crap without you. And we're all so lucky that you joined us.
Well, thank you so much.
I think this is part roast. She's kind of fucking like good.
It's a little roast, and
like,
it's a lot of love.
No one's worse than you.
But we love you for it, so...
I hope it's not coming across as an insult.
No, it's delightful. It's perfect.
Perfect, as long as you don't do it to me.
Justin Kraloth has proven his resilience time and time again within the party. I think he's the character who's gone unconscious the most times,
Yes.
clinging to life
Definitely.
valiantly, only to rise at the end of combat victorious. He's a champion because he puts himself in between his friends and danger every single time. Even though part of him is missing, he finds meaning in his relationships and also in making a really good pot of stew. Kraloth may be the biggest member of the Nightstone Four, but he's also the gentlest, holding babies at High Harvest Tide, chatting with a squat little mushroom at Morella and Greenwhistle's wedding, adopting a tiny Tressum off the street. But don't let that soft side fool you. The balance is swift and the balance is merciless.
I'm gonna start calling you Kraloth the Phoenix.
I like that.
I like that.
Justin is one of my best friends. We've played a lot of different RPGs together, both on stream and at home, and he embodies a lot of the qualities that Kraloth demonstrates. He's level-headed, he's diplomatic. I love that he always wants to know every side of a situation. And on top of all of that, Justin donates his time each week to make sure that Dice Shame sounds good as a product. He does all the back-end polish on the audio, composes music, adds sound effects. The show would not sound as good as it does without his hard work. So thank you so much, Justin, for everything that you do for the show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Joe.
And last, but certainly not least,
I don't think there's anything in that black bag for me.
Harlan, the way you play Red makes me wish that there was an NPC with the party all the time, just so that I could hang out with him. He's inquisitive, he's fun-loving, he's dangerous, he's irreverent, he's irresponsible. He pushes the party forward. He doesn't always care about the consequences. He wants to drink random potions and eat the probably poisonous berries in the secret garden around the teleportation circle and name everything Steven, and I love him. Red is Doran's biggest fan. He's Jack's counterpoint. He's Kraloth's best friend. And as for Harlan, well, he's my future husband and the person I trust most in the world. But even if he wasn't, I would still have a ton of nice things to say about him. For 100 episodes, Harlan has been working hard behind the scenes, turning our live play sessions into the show you hear by painstakingly sewing every stitch of audio together. He makes combat runs smoothly. He makes all of us sound far more eloquent than we ever possibly could in person. He nudges the timing of jokes so the punchlines land better. He makes stupid jingles and Easter eggs at the end of the credits to make himself laugh as much as anyone else. And if it weren't for Harlan's diligence, enthusiasm, and dedication, the show would not be here.
It's true.
Shut up. Shut up, Joe.
Genuinely, none of this is possible without Joe. Her absolute dedication and work that she puts in, the hours of debate amongst herself, let alone the amount of work she pours into typing and handwriting and reviewing notes and maps, the amount of games that she finishes with the most positive spirit I've ever seen is beyond attractive. She is somebody who is so passionate about what she does, and it is infectious. And I think all of us here attest to the infectious nature in which you not only run a game, but present yourself as a human being, Joe. You are, without a doubt, my favorite person alive. And we are so lucky to have you as frontrunner and the head of this deformed Dice Shame body with one furry arm and one,
short leg,
dwarven leg. Yeah.
The bald head.
And we owe you more than anybody else here for crafting such a fantastic story that we get to be a part of.
Absolutely.
You're amazing, Joe. Thank you so
Stop
much.
it.
Congratulations to all of you, to everyone. I can't believe that we've come so far.
We're centurions now.
We've made it to level 100.
Level 1,000.
I mean, episode 100.
Centurions. Yeah.
Anyway, enough of this mushy stuff.
So I guess now we don't have to do like one of our standard intros where, people insult me for my driving habits, right?
Brother, you insulted yourself. You embarrassed your damn self. That was not us.
Here we go.
Let's pause there. Obviously, a very sweet intro from Joe.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take a minute
Yeah.
to acknowledge everyone's hard work and dedication
And it was very sweet.
Let the audience know that everyone puts a ton of work into this. So it's nice to, we
Absolutely.
like jokey, like
No.
fun and bullshit, but it's just nice to acknowledge that.
Of course.
Just to be fair, we were saying just previously that we don't script anything. That I think was a bit scripted. I'm not gonna
Yes.
lie. I think
Actually,
Joe
mine
had
wasn't.
for that one.
My compliment
Harlan's was
wasn't.
off
I
the
had
cuff.
to riff on it because
But
I didn't
I-
prepare that.
But you cut out all
and-
my compliments.
It's actually at the end.
Actually, no, it's at the end of the episode because it's really ridiculous. It's really dumb. It's funny. But yeah,
It's
I
great.
think the important thing here is that Alex made his damn self a fool previous episode, and I think we all know it. Actually, someone just said.
Alex, you deserve the insults. Thank you, Gray.
Fancher said, Alex, I defended you on your driving. Railroad tracks are not obstacles.
That's great.
All right.
Should we get into
Let's do it.
Let's
We've been
do
waiting.
it.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
The deck of the airship is uncomfortable in the inhospitable climate of the spine of the world, and so you descend below decks to make yourselves comfortable for your journey. You are given quarters to share between the four of you, and you spend 6 days resting, idly practicing the giant language, reconnecting with one another. You travel west and south, out of the icy grip of the mountains.
Shale. No. He keeps eating out of his cage, Kraloth. I need stronger metal. Doran, I thought you said this was the strongest metal dwarves had.
It is, but you have to understand these Umber Hulks, they dig through mountains. We come across these all the time, and it takes a whole gang and whole troop of us usually to take them down.
Well, there must be some deterrent, something we can spray on them.
Well,
no, Shale, no.
just you have to teach it to eat.
Red's like in the corner, like trying to manage this toddler size now.
It's like bigger.
Oh no!
It's like grown fast.
Yeah. You looked away for 1 second. You look back. Those kids are grown. They're eating through the sides.
You're telling me. And I feel like there's a few moments where like Red calls Shale B.
Oh,
he's like
no.
B. I mean Shale. Like just one of those like things where you're like, oh.
I think at the maximum he's like beach ball sized. At
it's
this
Yeah,
point.
Yeah, no, I'm just teasing. Yeah, definitely like a little bouncing baby size. But I do think Shale really likes Red, and I do think there is like a genuine connection there. And
Cute.
It's the way your mom calls you by your brother or sister's name in that way.
100%.
Not that he's like he definitely did it because he had that empty nest syndrome, but now it is its own thing, and he's definitely come into that.
So who am I playing dragon chess with?
Oh, fucking Kieran.
Oh, that's funny.
The dog.
He's smart.
Yes,
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
He's smarter than you. He's got better intelligence than you.
So I'm sitting there playing dragon chess.
He's like letting you win. He's like,
Woof.
But just playing the game to take as long as possible because he gets a treat every. The longer we play, the more food Doran gets, the more food's on the table, the more treats Kieran gets. So he plays just good enough to keep the rounds going.
Nudging the piece along with his little snout.
And I picture Doran like dropping pieces of meat and stuff onto the table, and the way the dog would kind of come up with his snout kind of sideways, lick it off the top of the table, and then go back to nudging pieces with his nose.
I love the idea that he's like about to checkmate you, but he looks over to Jack, who's like reading a book, and Jack just like shakes his head, like, let Doran do it. And Kieran's like, all right, and like makes a bad move, and Doran's like, stupid dog. Like,
And still doesn't win the game.
yeah, still doesn't.
Puts himself in a checkmate.
And then the dog just rolls his eyes.
I got this picture because Jack's now resistant to cold because he's got this fancy new rock that he might go up on deck every once in a while just to get a little bit of time alone out of this chaotic space and pull out that flute that he got from the aerialists.
Oh.
And he's sort of been practicing to try and get like anything that's not an intellectual exercise but is definitely still a new creative voice to try and like be a little musical, but he's really not good at it.
I kind of love that he's terrible at it too.
He's not a performer. Like he's just got his natural charisma, and that's all he's got going for him trying to learn this. I think.
Do you guys hear that strange bird? There's like a bird or
What
something.
the hell is that? It sounds like something is dying up there.
There's a leak in the
Jack,
balloon.
do you see
can hear it
anything up
whistle.
there?
I'm picturing, like, in the evenings, one of the things that the crew and us do is we get together, we have a Titanic-esque, like, below-deck jam session.
Yes.
With tambourines and mandolins and stuff. And I picture kind of Jack off kind of on the sidelines, like, watching. And he like, wants to take part, but he doesn't know his...
It's definitely like... Unless he's invited, he's nowhere near brave enough to pull this thing out in front of another person. And, like...
Yeah. He's like snapping off beat, like from the corner. Like he's just kind of like. I love the idea that he's like so intelligent, but you know, someone will walk up to him on the deck and you like hide the flute. He's like, oh, just enjoying it, and then wait till they leave and then pull it out again.
Keeps touching in his back pocket while we're all playing, and then he goes to grab it, and then he just doesn't touch it, and then he goes to grab it. No.
Oh, I'm just microtonal. That's why. I'm doing it on purpose.
Oh, I see. Very, very.
Syncopation, microtonal. You know,
it's Avon Elven jazz.
Well, Kraloth is, as the wizard chess is happening in the cabin, Kraloth is lying on a hammock and it's swinging back and forth. He's got Jackson on his stomach and he's petting him slowly, and he has a notebook in his right hand and he's like saying Gog, Og, Brog, and then he like closes it for a second. Gog, Og, Bruh. And then he opens it again. He's practicing his giant, which he's been working on with Jack for the last
a while.
Doran's smoking his cigarette, playing dragon chess. No, you can't move there. Can you move there? I don't think he can move there.
It's called castling, Doran. We've talked about it. It's an obscure rule, but it's valid in tournament play. So,
oh God, how do you follow these rules?
Okay, but Shale gets next. Uncle Doran, Shale's next.
Not if he's gonna eat the pieces.
Weird things like.
How many replacement pieces have we got so far?
There's like half of them are like whittled out of strange pieces of
I was
soap
gonna say,
and
half of them
candle
are pieces
wax.
of soap.
Red's like so
stuff.
desperately trying to shove, his child in the mix to make him feel like one of the boys.
spool
Like
of thread.
He's just like that.
Hey, Red,
Yeah, buddy.
how do you say scone in giant? Oh, okay, thanks.
No, sorry, I was choking on a piece of brittle. It's bah.
Brah. Okay, and how do I say stew in giant? Oh, okay. Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
You're doing great, bud. Sounds wonderful.
I appreciate it.
Late afternoon on the 6th day of travel sees you cruising over the misty treetops of the Lurkwood. You've been flying over the forest for days, the wintry tops of cedars and pines shivering below you like a verdant ocean. The sun is already beginning to set, and flurries of snow pelt the unguarded faces of anyone on deck.
I think Red would come up every once in a while and sort of counter to Jack. He's much chillier since getting the ice rune.
My bones aren't used to this. The fur doesn't help all that much. What's that up your sleeve, Jack? It's something long and cylindrical.
Dasan's wand.
Yeah, cool.
And this flute, that we picked up back in the area list. But look at the woods down there. It's really like, take in the geography. It really isn't quite like the map. You can see it's grown a little bit over the last few years.
A small brown bird shoots up onto the deck of the airship, fluttering haphazardly in a circle, leaving a streak of blood wherever it bumps against the flooring.
Whoa.
It seems to be injured. It's breathing rapidly, looking all around in distress.
Oh, hey, little guy.
Red bends down. Shale's like underneath with Doran. You just hear screaming from underneath of Doran getting bit. But
He's digging through the bed sheets.
I feel like Jack and Red sort of walk up to this little thing, and Red puts his warm paws out and tries to lift the little bird.
Yeah, its little chest is like, I don't know how I know this, but what it looks like when a bird is scared.
I don't know why you know that, but
I don't know.
how many birds
Scared
have you
bird.
killed? Gacy.
You know when their little chests just like heave really fast? It's like that.
Right before you snuff out the lights. You know that exhilaration you get?
Last light of a dying bird, the Joe Fallak story.
Thanks, guys. Anyway, this bird vanishes just as suddenly as it arrived.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
you pick it up in your hands and it just disappears.
What the hell is that?
Vanishes like a familiar disappears,
Yes,
or like a summon.
very much. Actually, Jack, you would recognize that immediately.
Did I kill it? Jack!
That was someone's familiar. Oh. Means there's a wizard around here somewhere.
Didn't feel familiar.
Well,
Below you, a small village appears between the thick trees. You count a few dozen wood and stone cottages with stone-fenced yards. Paths tread through the snow between them.
I think Red hollers at the crew to sort of stop the airship.
Sure, yeah. You call for slowing the speed.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 6 days. I feel like there's somewhat of a rapport here. We're allowed to use this thing as if it were our own, more or less, for the time being. So I think Red sort of hollers for someone to slow down.
The airship complies, sort of losing velocity as you move through the evening. On the far side of the village, you see a tall manor house with a high peaked roof that stands with lights in every window. On the lawn, someone is waving both arms overhead, clearly trying to catch the attention of the airship as you begin to pass overhead slowly.
Look, Jack, there's a grey person there against the grey trees and the grey... Oh, I'm colorblind. There's someone down there, I think, standing in the trees.
Doran, bring the spyglass.
As you say that, we're already coming up because we kind of feel the airship starting to come down, and looking out little porthole windows, we're seeing, the ground rise up closer and slowly to the airship. So, okay. And he grabs the spyglass and continues up to join you.
What is it? Have we arrived?
I don't know.
There's someone signaling for help.
Oh,
Help. But we're not there yet, are we? We're still over this forest. Doran kind of scoots up and gives you the spyglass pretty quickly.
Jack will take a good look down at the manor house and the people there, and then sort of hand the spyglass over.
Red, with his already good eyesight, puts the spyglass up and he sees like the mole hair on the guy's lip. He's like,
It's too close.
well, a little too far.
Are they shouting anything, or...?
They're just kind of waving both arms overhead, like trying to catch your attention. They're not shouting because, they recognize that the distance is too great.
Should I put up a signal?
I don't know. Maybe.
One of the crew is like, would you have us land the airship, or shall we maintain altitude and drop the ladder for you?
Maintain altitude for the time being, I think. We don't know what kind of situation this is. And I turn to Jack and I say, an airship would be a worthy prize for any possible army to take. Keeping it up just in case. You never know. 4 score of orcs could come out and try to make an assault.
I think I'd turn to Kraloth and we could give each other eyes about climbing down this ladder.
Kraloth is feeling a lot more comfortable after the past few days, and the experiences he's had over the last 100 episodes have made him a bit more able to stomach this.
Until he looks down.
He turns to Red and says, "Hey, Red, so what do you see down there? It's still hard to make out between the trees."
Yeah, there's somebody waving their arms trying to get our attention.
Did you do a perception check, or...?
Oh, yeah, let me do a perception. Great point. And I got a dirty 20 on perception.
Oh,
nice.
Excellent. Yeah, looking around at the village, you would estimate that perhaps 200 people live here. It's hard to tell immediately. The icy grip of winter is clearly holding the village in its grasp. There are some large drifts of snow pushed up against the side of some houses. The figure that is waving to you sees that the airship has stopped, sort of hovering in the air above the village, and is turning around to go inside the manor.
Well, I suppose we should head down and see what's up. I don't see any... with the dirty 20, I presume I don't see any signs of an army.
Glaring issues.
There's no evidence of an ambush.
All right, well, let's get down there.
Yeah. You know what? I'm thinking I'll head down first, and maybe Red, you stay last and cover us with your bow and arrow.
All right, fine.
It's not a bad plan,
I
Alex.
like
Good
that.
strategy.
Well, it's the soldier in me.
Red sort of kicks the dirt on the deck a little bit. Oh, fine. You guys get to see the new cool place, and I'll stay behind.
Well, no, come down. Just be the last one.
Are you bringing Shale with you, Red?
Nah, I'll leave Shale here. I feel like I've befriended one of the younger male humans who's sort of been forced to watch over Shale when I'm out and about, just doing my own little things and climbing the mast of this airship. For some reason, I think it has a mast.
And I'm just like, Damien, watch sail.
He's like, all right.
And he kicks the dust.
Yeah.
I do picture him like an emo kid.
Fine.
Like he's yeah. I feel like he's got like, you know, like the black hair like
really
all over one
long-
of his eyes. Yeah, you know,
long
pulled down in front of his
bangs.
face, like very like early 2000s emo. Oh, fun.
Cool.
Jack makes a snapping his fingers, and this big 5-foot symbol of like green landing airship shows up, and he says, "We'll give you this signal when we want you to come back. So keep a lookout for us."
Agreed.
Okay. Doran, you ready to do this?
I think
You feeling pumped?
we're gonna go.
We're gonna go down that ladder. How high do you think we're up right now?
Just don't look down.
All right.
500 feet.
Okay.
400 feet.
Of course, he's on the edge, and he's got to start getting his feet
350 feet.
and starting to.
Jack knows exactly how far away you are from the ground. So the ladder is dropped and you begin to descend. The village is quiet, hemmed in on all sides by the darkness of the Lurkwood. The trees seem like they are watching you, Doran, as you descend the rope ladder towards the ground.
I'm gonna pause there for a second. Exciting stuff so far.
Yeah.
Lots of funny stuff. I remember we had a lot of punchy energy at the start of that recording session.
It had been a while since we recorded, so I know we were all like rushing to say something and talking over each other. I can't imagine it was fun to edit this one at all.
We were really bad for talking over each other this recording session. I remember for some reason we were so
Because I started off by saying, like, we're going to have a scene where you guys have a chance to interact with each other while you are traveling to get where you're going. So
Right.
do that. And then you guys were just like, yeah, that.
well, because I think because it came off the back of the dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
I think it you know, once we left Mirabar, we didn't really have a time to break from the major mystery that was going on. So I think it was a bit of like not just a character wanting to cut loose, you know, but I think as players we were also like, oh, I want to do some fun stuff.
Absolutely. You go from a dungeon crawl, and I mean, I'm normal. I'm always like this, but you know, I go from a dungeon crawl that I love, and I love those. I love the battle. But then I'm like, well, you know what? Some conversations, some role play, some character building might be nice, and those are
Absolutely.
the situations we take advantage.
Yeah.
Some good jokes in this episode so far. That fucking flute. Practice.
God, that's fucking funny.
I mean, but some of
Very
those are the
good.
sound design, like just jokes,
just-
where because everything else
Handed it
sounded
to
so perfect, it needed to sound great.
Holy
or-
crap! He's so
There's a couple
specifically
really good
bad.
jokes. I love
Yeah.
the playing chess with the dog and then
so
letting
good.
the dog win, and
Yeah.
then him letting you and you still lose is
Kieran
hilarious.
letting. Yeah.
I think that.
ahead.
I also love the like growth in Jack to like catch himself and not lie to Red to be like, no, this is stupid. I just need to, it's just a flute.
I love that. I love the way you say it. You're like, and this flute, like, yeah. There's also this.
Hey, look over
like,
there.
Yeah, it was really good. And then Red not caring at all. The Damien
Classic
joke
Red.
I loved, where I kicked the dirt and I'm like, whatever, Damien watch him, and then he says, oh man, and then he kicks the dirt. I can see it, like I could see the quick cut to it. And it'd be really, really fucking funny. So, no, good scene setting, and I'm excited to continue.
Yeah, cold.
Here we go.
Who even decides to live in such a place? Who lives in the cold? Why do people live here? Why don't they move somewhere warmer? This is
They
ridiculous.
should just dig a hole and live underground, right, Doran?
Absolutely. I don't know who lives above ground and all snow and rain.
Doesn't seem so bad. I've seen worse.
Yeah, well, look down.
You told me not to look down.
Yeah, but if you do now, you'll know exactly what. Oh, don't look down. Don't look down.
That was before I was upset. No, I'm mean, Doran.
Are we close to the ground yet?
I don't know. I haven't looked at, and at that moment, my foot hits the ground. You know when you're walking down the stairs in the dark and you think there's another step, but there's not? So you do this awkward thing where you're like, oh, that's what Doran does.
I think we might be close. Ow. Yeah, we're down.
All right. And Kraloth looks around and tries to get his bearings as Jack gets down to the bottom of the ladder, too. We'll do a perception check. That's an 18 for perception.
The figure that was spotted from the airship is nowhere to be seen, although you do notice a couple of faces looking at you from a nearby house, just peering at you through the glass, illuminated by a single candle. And then they vanish.
Come on down, Red. It looks clear.
I'm on my way! And Red climbs down the ladder after you and lands between the four of you, jumping off the last 5 steps.
As Red gets to the bottom of the ladder, Kraloth, in a really kind of solemn tone, as he's looked around and it's kind of creepy, he's like, "Good move, brother." And he holds out like a low 5 to Red.
Yeah, buddy. And I give him some skin.
It's pretty creepy down here, isn't it?
Yeah. That person was in that manor window. Maybe we should approach.
That one there?
Yeah. And Red sort of points and leads the way as the ladder recedes.
The frosty ground crunches underfoot as you make your way towards the manor house. A large human man in a red velvet doublet strides out to meet you, his arms thrown wide. His eyes are dark and shining. His face is full and flushed rosy. Welcome to Pellerswant, friends. I'm Cursed Breacher, mayor of this fine hamlet. And what excellent wares have you brought to my doorstep? In possession of an airship such as this, you must be traders or emissaries from a foreign land. Come in and tell me everything. And the mayor beckons for you to follow him up the gentle sloping lawn and away from a small crowd of peasants that have started to accumulate in curiosity at your presence. Clearly, the village seldom sees visitors.
I will say, because already 2 things that got cut. And why do an episode 100 special if we don't talk about the things that we cut out of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, and we all remember it, is that originally Red didn't climb down the ladder, but he fell straight down because I got that frosty mantle from episode 98 or whatever, where I could touch myself and it reduces all bludgeoning damage to 0
From one instance. Damage.
So I thought it'd be hilarious to cast that and then just fall,
Which it would have been.
They think I'm dead and then whatever. But then we realized that using it would, if combat came, ironically I never ended up using it in combat if it happened. Well, I guess we have to think about the future.
Yeah, I can't tell them that.
But we cut that. And then the other thing is Joe was working very hard to create a sense of horror.
Yeah, I wanted
mystery.
the atmosphere to be foreboding. It's going to be like, kind of a scary episode maybe.
Yeah.
And then I introduce Cursed Breacher, who's the
guy.
mayor of this town, and he walks down and I describe what he's wearing, which is like a red velvet doublet, and all of the boys are like, Santa!
Everyone. They're like Rob was just like, ho, ho, ho. And Alex was like, what's the Santa motherfucker doing? And,
I mean, we were coming off
boys.
a real punchy energy. It
Well,
had
that's
to
it.
shift
Yeah.
to get
And Joe's-
to mystery for sure.
And
Yeah,
Joe's
it
totally
was-
like, okay, I'm trying to create like a horror.
I put the
Do you guys
kibosh.
For real.
remember that
that
this
line is
supposed
in
to be
there. I
horror?
cut it. But there was a line where she's like, okay, guys, horror. She literally says that. And it was really, really funny. I had to pause there because that was a moment that didn't make it into the episode,
dumb
but was
fucks.
really
But
fucking
come on, how can you blame us?
I don't. I think we were in the right. Anyway, back to it.
It's the person that I saw from the airship.
no, this is not.
Yeah, so I think we head inside.
I think Doran has now learned at this point. He just watches Red and he's thinking, what would Red do? He probably wouldn't say anything immediately about not being welcomed by the person that seemed to flag us down. Let's just see where this goes. Doran's internal thought.
Good internal thoughts, Doran.
Oh,
That's
shit.
a great move. That's exactly how I want to
Was
play.
I saying that out loud? Okay.
Yeah, you did say it out loud, but that's okay. No, it's fine. Yeah, and I think we follow him inside, sort of staying quiet. And it's funny because I do think there is a knowing glance between Doran and Red where Red picks up exactly what Doran is thinking. And there is a bit of like well done.
The mayor's manor house is glimmering in the gathering dusk. A candelabra is lit in every window. You are led in past the richly appointed foyer through a long hall and into a dining room decked with floor-to-ceiling red drapes, exactly matching the color of Mayor Breacher's waistcoat. The table is set for dinner, with root vegetable stew, roasted venison, and cheeses arrayed attractively. The mayor was clearly in the middle of dinner when you had arrived, and so he seats himself back at the table with the help of a servant. There are 2 other guests here, a human man and woman, both in their 50s. The woman puts down her fork and nods politely to you as you sit down to join them, and introduces herself as Alette Candish. The man mumbles his own name around a mouthful of cheese. Renzo Addy.
Is the table set for just the 3?
Yes, but the mayor motions for the 4 of you to sit down if you would like.
Is that cheese? That looks good.
It is cheese.
So can I have a piece of that cheese?
Please be seated if you'd like.
Oh.
Doran hops up in a chair.
Kraloth places his shield against the table and sits down and says, well, we thank you very much for your hospitality. My name is Kraloth. This here is Jack, Doran, and Red.
Doran, sort of in a very dwarven sense, just starts eating without much concern or regard for what everybody else is doing.
What's your village called?
Pella's Want. It's one of the loveliest places you could have hoped to have landed.
Is it?
Is it always so cold? Because I'll tell you, it's mighty cold out there.
Oh, I mean, the weather is quite cold, yes.
I think Jack's standing back a little bit, hasn't really said much, because I think he's waiting to see if it's going to be helpful to tip his hand and be like, this guy's full of himself. If I say I'm a high muckety-muck from Waterdeep, maybe that gets us one direction versus maybe we don't want to say that in another. So I think he's sort of taking it in. He's trying to figure out, how old has this house been here? Is the silverware actually nice, or is it like the cheap stuff you buy when you want to pretend to look nice? Is it is it an old building, a new building? He's just sort of looking around and almost purposely ignoring this guy.
Jack, you get a sense that this manor house is well furnished despite meager means. That the table linens being used aren't of the same quality as you would find in Waterdeep necessarily. This is like standard country bumpkin type manor house.
Red, who's sitting next to Kraloth, sees Jack eyeing the room and turns to this mayor and says, everything seems pretty, chilly up here. Apart from your hospitality, of course. I'm wondering if there's anything we could help with beyond acting as meager traders.
Yeah, he puts down his fork gently and then dabs away a gob of gravy that's collected in the side of his mouth before he answers you. And he says, this summer we saw a weak harvest, and 2 months back we were set upon by a giant that destroyed much of our grain stores. Can you believe it? A giant, of all things.
Yes, who would have thought?
Kershit is distractedly picking some lint from his doublet. He's sort of pushing the food around on his plate. What I'm trying to tell you is that the village's taxes are due, which is why Alette and Renzo are dining with me this evening. Pleasure of your company, of course. And they both nod. We've only a week remaining before we must put together the livestock and grain we've got, owing to the council in Mirabar. And the food that will remain is hardly enough to feed the village for another month, much less the rest of the winter.
Doran slows down when he's eating, sort of putting it down.
So, what can you do to help Pella's Want survive the coming famine? When you landed, I first thought you must be traders, but now, looking at you in the light, I can see you're adventurers of some fine quality. I'm happy to pay as much as we can afford for a solution, though I'm sure good people like yourselves aren't solely motivated by coin.
Well, you ran straight into it then, didn't you? I didn't realize you had so much for us to help with. And Red sort of sits back, his guard down a little bit, now that this guy is talking frank. Look, what kind of troubles do you have? If it's just a giant that's been attacking, is it the one time, or is it a repeat offense?
Well, as I say, it was one time, a couple of months ago, and the main issue is that we have taxes due.
Do you have a sense of scope of your taxes? Just so we, like, what's the value that you owe or will owe? Do you have a...
And Red, shoots a look to Jack. We're not paying every town's taxes.
No.
Alette, who is this hawkish, nervous-looking woman with
closely cropped salt and pepper hair and hollow cheeks, speaks up.
I believe the numbers are still being tabulated currently, but somewhere in the order of 3 dozen sheep and 20 bags of grain.
She reaches under the table and she's doing something, and then a dog's head pops up. This basset hound is trying to climb onto her lap, and she's like, down, down.
You mean this is not just money, but actual things?
Understood.
Ode to Mirabar.
That is correct, yes.
And throughout all of this, Renzo is mowing through dinner.
So in your ideal vision of our help, what can we do?
Yeah, are we supposed to be raising sheep while we've landed here for the night?
There are many different ways, obviously, but we're curious to hear how you envision a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are many different ways that parties such as yourselves could help the village. I'm sure you have many such travails under your belt as well. Foraging for wild game, creating food with magic powers, warming the land. We have a field of turnips that were caught in an early freeze that cannot be harvested. And then, speaking out of the corner of his mouth, Renzo says, I hear there are some sick villagers that will die soon, regardless of how much food is stored. They're eating food that we could save. Maybe you could thin the herd a little.
I think Red raises an eyebrow to Kraloth sitting next to him. It doesn't even, hide it. Just
I think we all raise an eyebrow.
Well, that's a bit extreme.
He just shrugs and he's like, desperate times.
Well, if you're willing to let us stay in your town and you're able to provide some shelter for us, we will look around and see if we can find ways to help. I think it's the least that we can do for the food that you've provided us, despite how scarce everything is.
Of course. I mean, there's lots of ways that we could potentially handle without having to go to such extreme measures.
Have you had to do that before?
Oh, no. Don't be ridiculous.
Is there a baker in town?
Oh, the orphanage.
Yes.
What? Look, and if you're looking for someone trustworthy to talk to get a real feel about what's going on in town, you go to the most trustworthy member, which we've established is the baker.
That's true.
The door to the dining room bursts open with such force that several nearby candles are extinguished. A villager stands in the darkened doorway, hair plastered wetly to his scalp, frank panic written on his face. Please, my lord, come at once. Something terrible has happened to the sheep. Please, I beg you. It's awful. Blood is everywhere. Kershid stands abruptly, throwing down his napkin. Stop stammering, Zafri. Take us there. Kershid follows Zafri, and the tax collectors look at one another and then start donning their armor.
Kraloth exchanges a look with everybody of the party.
Red nods to Kraloth and looks towards the tax collectors, and in a low voice he says, Does anyone get a weird feeling about those guys? They look pretty well armed for tax collectors.
I mean, we don't know anything about them or their dynamic. I think the more we can learn from watching them, the better. Do we know they're really the tax collectors? Are they on the up and up? Are they actually from Mirabar? Are they shaking the town down because they're actually... Are they the wizard? Is someone else... Are they hunting the wizard who had the familiar there?
That's a great question. You know what? Let me, and I think Red sort of turns around and just walks up to Renzo, maybe with Jack even, because I feel like Jack would have more knowledge about what a tax collector is supposed to be. I feel like he's dated a tax collector. I used to date a tax collector.
That's great.
When I was 28. Listen, everyone goes through a tax collector phase, okay?
If you're not turned on by columns and sums, let me tell you, you're missing out.
That's right.
Renzo, was it? My name's Red.
Yes.
Just curious, you said you're representing, is it Mirabar?
Yes, I mean, I live here in the village, but we do tax collecting for the area.
And so you go door to door, essentially asking people for their dues?
Yes, once a year.
And how often does that have to get violent?
Rarely.
But it has happened?
Occasionally, people need a little bit of convincing. And you see that Alette and Renzo are both carrying great swords.
Can I roll insight on him just to sort of get the vibe of what he means by that?
Sure.
It's like dentists, right? Nobody loves the tax collector. I feel you that way with. Never mind.
11.
This guy's definitely got the predisposition for a tax collector. He looks
like someone who might value the trappings of wealth, you know? People who give a shit about that thing. Whereas most of the villagers here would probably be more like salt of the earth kind of folks.
True.
You know, maybe he's got like kind of a ridiculous pendant.
And he's really big.
He's a very tall, skinny man. And he's got wispy gray hair and stooped shoulders.
All right, well, thank you for answering our questions. Anyway, I guess we better follow.
Seems like this place is in a lot of trouble. Come on.
Outside, the winter sun has just set, and the moon is climbing into the sky, casting grim silver light. Snow is blown into drifts in place.
Sorry, let's pause there for a second.
So
You always know when someone is the tax collector type and they give a shit about money by their big weird necklace they wear. Good job, Joe.
I've been dying to do the math since I put you on the spot to figure out what the town's taxes were worth.
Good, okay.
So 3 dozen sheep at 2 gold a piece is 72 gold. A pound of wheat per the player's handbook is a copper piece. So assuming like 60 pounds in a bushel of wheat, and we're talking about bushels or bags.
It's 70,000 pounds.
That's another
actually.
12 gold. That's 84 gold total. That seems reasonable for a thorp in the middle of nowhere. I just, I was never got back to figuring it out. But this is what live streams are for.
If only we had done the math at the time, we would have could just been like.
I don't think it was about the math. It turns out the adventure was not one of actuary finesse.
This is true.
That's right.
It's true.
As will soon be revealed.
Who's going to
Hindsight is 2020.
Just pay off the tax debt? They'll never hear about that.
It's funny though because I ended up ADRing a lot of lines in here, and again, this is another behind the scenes thing because
Trivia question. Ding. What's ADR stand for?
Oh God!
After
what is it?
A recording.
No, audio. I think it's. My guess it's like audio dubbing retake or something like that. It's a great question though. I gotta find out.
Yeah, but go on.
No, it's not an
American
alternative.
Depository Receipt.
Automated dialogue replacement.
Automated?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the term is accurate, but I use it to mean what it does mean in film. But anyway, the long and short of it is that when Red walked in, I was really motivated to try to find the person that flagged us down, because my thinking was, they're in trouble. So I ended up going like through the house while everyone else walked around, which ended up being fruitless. And we sort of realized that this person was just like doing the bidding of the Baron, and we just needed to come down there. So again, a decision that I ended up cutting out, and I ADR'd so that as if Red was at the table the entire time, because it didn't add anything. It would have just added minutes, and you would have been like, why is Red walking around? Nothing really came of it. So again, an example of how we do end up cutting a bit of the story, because
you know what though, but it's situations like that, people are gonna call us up and say, you scripted that whole thing.
I mean, well,
we saw that that Q&A you did.
I mean,
you said
we know how we do
ADR.
it. I'm not worried about it.
Sorry, guys.
You know what? Fuck them. I don't care.
Anyway, here we go. We're right at the end now.
Let's do it.
Creating odd forms that could cover who knows what. The villager holds his cloak closed tightly with his hands as he leads Mayor Kershid along a trampled path through a field.
Now that we're outside, Jack brings Kieran back out of the pocket dimension he was in to get down the ladder, and lets him sort of sniff around the bushes as we walk around.
A few hundred yards from the manor house, you come to a wide wooden hut next to a gated pen. There's a single door in the hut which hangs ajar, spilling dim light from inside. Nearby, 2 small bales of sweetgrass lie abandoned in the snow. Inside, the dirt floor is covered with straw and dung, and the scent of blood hangs in the air. A single lantern hangs from the rafters and swings in the draft, causing dark shadows inside to tilt and shift. In the center of the room stands a hulking brute of a man, holding the flayed head of a sheep, dripping blood. He's looking into the sheep's glassy eyes. A few other sheep heads lie scattered gruesomely in the hay. Zafri is standing in the door.
I came down at sunset to bring feed to the sheep, and I found fur there, and the sheep gone. I asked him what happened, and he was just saying they were dead. And then I came and I fetched you, my lord. Mayor Kershid is visibly rattled. His rosy complexion pales as sheen of sweat coats his brow. What devilry is this, Firth? What have you done with the sheep? The large man looks up to Kershid and just does like a tiny shrug, and then looks back down to the sheep head. Kershid tosses a coin purse at your feet, Jack, and he says, I hereby deputize you as members of Peliswant Militia. Detain this man until I return. Do not let him leave your sight. With that, Kershid Breacher turns, nearly bumping into Renzo and Alette, who have finally finished donning their armor and caught up with you. He brusquely orders them to follow him. The three head out into the night, the villager Zafri trailing behind, leaving you alone in the sheep barn.
This was the surprise. We're not surprised. But this ain't the OG. This is Alexi's.
And I think I'd just like to take this moment, and we probably each will after each of our thanks.
Oh no, she's just shouting you out. She's just gassing you today.
Could you imagine?
It was just for Doran, 2 or 3 minutes on Alex, and away we go into the adventure.
Yeah, I know.
Save
Right?
one for the start.
Thanks,
of every
guys.
episode.
I've never had such a thorough and entertaining, with all of your voices, dungeon master or game master, and that's including Harlan. So,
Aww.
Harlan is great, but you're thorough.
There's a real
very,
walking
very
the fine
talented.
line on roast.
Thank
It's just so.
It's a compusalt. It's a compliment and an insult. I
All right.
coined that. It's
Thank you for
explainable.
creating such a wonderful world for us to play in.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So good.
Great job.
I was
Yeah.
laughing because we were in the funniest mood for
Yeah, we were.
a horror episode, and I just
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
laughing way too much while we're
Mhm.
listening back. I'm like, oh my god, it's actually scary sounding.
Well, and it's interesting again to give a bit of the behind the scenes that I will be editing this week the next episode, and Justin will be we're right on the cusp of what we're releasing. So as they get to hear it, you guys get to hear it, and all kind of stuff.
We proofed
Yeah,
all of the stuff we did put out, Harlan, 5 times. It goes.
I mean,
through
I'll be
the whole
catching up now that
editing
Little
feed.
Hen's at school and I have more time. I'll be
Yeah,
able to
true.
cut through our backlog, but no, it's been a real pleasure, and this was a lot of fun. It was really
It
cool.
was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited for where the story is going to go next. I know a lot of people ask questions about well, that wasn't in the book. Where does that come from? What is going to happen? And there are some really exciting wrap-ups to some of the side plots and quests that we are going to be
Kraloff's
seeing
baby.
in the next little while. And then we're also going to go some new interesting places that we're just starting to introduce right now. So there's going to be some interesting developments in the life and times of the Nightstone Forest. So I mean I can't wait to see how we do with the next 100, and then maybe the 100 after that. Who knows?
And then
I mean, we're
1,000
just
after
getting
that.
started. We're just getting
Yeah.
started.
We really are. I mean, we did set out with the long form in mind, and I think that was important. The characters, the backstories, certain revelations, we've wanted them to take their time, and I think that's paved a more comfortable road where we all sort of are starting to like these characters, where there's still things 100 episodes in about my character that we don't know. Is it frustrating at time? Absolutely. But additionally, there's still more cause to find out what the
We
hell's
can make
going
as
on.
many episodes as there are idioms. After that, we're done.
Then we're done.
Until language stops.
I know, and we are getting pretty dry.
I think
on
there's
the
at least
idioms,
3
but-
more idioms left.
Yeah.
Well, just
103, you think, is the total?
Yeah.
What we might be doing is we might be doing idiom number. We might be being like piece of cake
Part 2.
again. Another piece of cake. You know what I mean?
A second piece of cake.
The break of dawn again. Talk of the town.
Another
Talking
break
of
of
the town.
No,
More
idioms
talk of the
are
town.
as old as the moon, so
Idioms.
we got lots to choose from.
Pick a different
Oh.
language.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Alexis
There.
said.
There's
Idioms
the
of
book
other
of
languages.
Our Russian proverbs.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I think that's it from us, right? I think that's it.
Perfect.
Episode
So
100.
go like and review this episode. Share it with all your friends. Go check it out. Join the Patreon if you're not there already, and then join the Discord if you're not there already. Do all the socials stuff.
Yeah, do it. Rob
All
said
the
so.
social stuff.
Do
We are
it.
at
Do now.
96,000 downloads. We're so close to getting
That's awesome.
100,000
So
100,000
downloads.
downloads.
every one of you go out and tell
1,000 of your
2,000
friends.
Let's get this done tonight.
yeah, one
It's 100
shot.
episodes.
Come on, do it.
You're all
that-
excellent people. I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoy playing with you all. You know that, but I also love this community
The community is
that we
incredible.
have.
It's
you
very
know,
fun.
on
Amazing.
Discord and
Yeah.
on the YouTube there.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Woo!
No,
Oh,
they're
oh.
amazing people, and
Does the Invictus stream start tonight?
we replaced it. You know that, right?
Yeah.
He's just being a little shit.
I'm just being
Sometimes
my
you
normal
don't know with
little
Alex. Sometimes.
Of course I knew.
I double booked myself. What am I gonna
Yeah.
do?
I'm supposed to be playing in a game tonight,
Oh,
bro.
no.
And you guys, don't forget.
We're recording on Sunday.
Yeah, we are. But Rob and Alex.
Oh
there
yeah,
is a gift here from
We got
I believe
stuff for
Katie,
you.
right?
Yeah.
I will have to swing by.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
amazing.
think I showed you guys. She
No.
gave us
Yeah.
all.
They're
these
so good.
large.
Oh,
Yeah, we haven't opened yours
a month
yet.
Ago.
So.
A month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's,
Well, we haven't
COVID.
gotten together. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody who has watched and supported and all that kind of stuff. We will be finding new ways to get merch because that's important. And blah, blah, blah. Check out Malevolent as well if you like the show. It's a big push for us. I have to drop it, Rob. It's our second show.
It was the way that you dropped it that got me. It was like, hey, check it out, I guess. Like,
Blah, blah, blah.
Because I'm
yeah,
tired.
I mean,
I'm tired
it's a
of
pretty
people
good show.
of
It's
pushing
on-
it. Pushing it.
yeah. Yeah.
It is a good show. It is a good show. Check it out, everyone.
People like it.
Check it out, Alex and Rob.
I know. I still haven't listened.
I know. These guys have not
Some
heard it yet.
episodes.
It's gonna surpass Dice Shame for listens soon, which is
I'm
very
gonna be-
cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Amazing.
gonna wait 10 years, and I'm gonna say to Harlan, "Hey, have you heard of this podcast? You might like it. It's called like
10 years from now,
Malevolent."
Harlan's going to be busy making the Malevolent TV show, and he won't have time for you. So
Yeah.
About
right.
about not being able to see anything. That'd be awesome. I will say though, it's interesting on the Discord, the Malevolent fandom and the Dice Shame fandom. There's like a wall between them. Like don't get me wrong. There's a few crossovers, but they're very much like the Malevolent people are like have been
Distinct
talking tonight down there. You know what I mean? Like there's a few chats going on.
They're not. They don't like horror fans.
There's a
who
hard
like the
wall
audio
between the two.
drama.
Yeah, it's
are
pretty
not
cool, though.
AP fans.
It's very interesting though. It's very interesting to see that division. Although again, there's still a lot of crossover. A lot of people coming to us from both. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been an
Thank you.
absolute blast. And as always, keep it real.
keep your stick on the ice.
Keep your stick on the ice. I'm just gonna play us out.
And remember to roll those dice.
Oh, that's a good
Shame.
joke.
Shame the dice.
Shame.
Shame.